This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Place to Be Nation class is back in session. Quick turnaround here. No February vacation for us because this is episode number 12. Jeff Learns Wrestling. I am your professor, JT, along, of course, with my boo, Jeff Machado. Jeff, how are you?
Good. It's been 12 already?
Yeah, crazy, huh?
That's amazing because freshman calculus, there were 38 classes, and I went to 3 of them.
So we've beaten that.
I've already quadrupled the amount of calculus classes I went to.
Have you ever done 12 of anything?
How many Richard the Mailmans were there? I think we...
Oh, yeah, you probably had more than
We
12.
had a pretty good run at that.
Yeah. That was across like 6 years.
Or should I say we have had. Yes. I don't want to put the punctuation mark.
Correct. It could still live on.
Yeah.
I'm going to see Josh Richer in a couple weeks.
You're going to Vegas?
I have to go to Arizona for work, and I'm going to Vegas for the weekend. My wife's meeting me.
I hate you guys. Everyone gets to go to Vegas but me.
Yeah, it worked out well.
My brother-in-law bought Britney Spears tickets for his wife, and he doesn't even like Britney Spears. I love Britney Spears, and I love Vegas, and this guy gets to go see Britney in Vegas.
We're going to see J-Lo.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
This is the last episode.
Well, see, because I do so much of my own thing, I told my wife that she could pick any show she wanted when we're out there. And J-Lo, she charges a pretty penny. But
I could imagine.
I've read it's all worth it. I've read she puts on an awesome show.
Yeah, it's like a life-changing experience.
Yeah.
You should have said, hey, Megan, you can do whatever you want and take whoever you want, and then she could have taken me instead of you. And then you and Josh could go, whatever, drink coffee. Well, we watch one of the greatest performances of our time.
I don't drink coffee, you know that.
That's true. You're weird.
Yeah.
What do you drink? What do you wake up? Do you eat grapes in the morning?
No.
Apple?
Water.
You just wake up and you're up.
I'm up.
Okay.
I'm up. This
Weird
body
guy.
don't rest. It's been resting, though, sadly. I've been confined to a chair for most of the last few days. So a few episodes ago, we talked about your story where you got run over by a car at work. Mine's not as exciting, but a few nights ago, we had some snow. And all day, I hemmed and hawed. I'm like, I have a guy that will come clean it. And it's like $35. So it wasn't the money. I'm like, I don't mind.
It's the principle of the thing.
Right, and I don't mind it as a workout.
Show, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I can just go. It's a good
Burn some
workout.
calories.
Yeah, I'm like, so finally I settle on just doing it myself. So I'm out there and I'm almost done. And my wife had been with the kids. This all comes back around to me in the end because I had went to Philadelphia for the weekend for the Royal Rumble. I had left her alone for like 3 days with the kids, one of who's in the middle of potty training. So like it was a real douchebag move by me. So when she said she needed some time to herself, I said, all right, well, I'll take the kids outside with me while I shovel. So we all go outside. We truck out there. And as you know, children in the snow, it sounds like fun for like 3 minutes, and then they get cold, and they take off their gloves, and they become assholes. So my son already was in and out like 5 times. My daughter, who's going to be 6, was helping me. She was being real good, but then she goes to she took off her glove for some reason. So I'm on our front steps, and I turn around, and I'm talking to her, and she goes, okay, well, can you help me put my glove on?
And that's where it all went wrong.
I should have told her to fuck off, but I would turn around to help her with the glove. And as I turned off the bottom step, and you know how our steps are, like those.
Your stairs are always slippery. They have ice on them if it's like 100 degrees.
Yeah, so I turn off of it, and next thing I know, I'm on the ground. And my leg, it's like I was sliding into second, but instead of my leg coming under, I did like the back slide, like a split kind of.
You got like caught.
So my left leg was like this, and I'm like that, and I screamed like a bitch. Like was it like Eric Lapine
bitch level, or
it was pretty loud? Yeah,
okay.
It was like that, like I want to throw up and blackout moment. Like that's how bad it hurt, and I heard like a legit like snap or pop or something that just scared the life out of me. And as I fell, I slid into her, and she fell on me because I took her legs out as I went down. So the first thing I'm thinking is, great, I broke my leg and hers. So she's okay. So she gets up, and she's like staring at me like, what the fuck is going on?
Wait, when you fell and screamed, did you have enough wherewithal to not curse because your daughter was there?
Oh, no, I was letting the F-bombs
Oh, really?
go. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing because I never heard my dad swear until I was like 20.
Oh, I was F-bombing left and right. Like, fuck. Because I thought, I'm thinking like,
I'll never walk again.
Right. Well, I'm thinking my ankle's going to be hanging, right? Like when I pull I'm thinking like,
it's going to be that gross, like bone sticking out.
It's gone. Like I'm thinking I'm fucked. Like basketball's done. Like everything's done. This is what I'm thinking.
I love that you thought of basketball.
That was the first thing I thought of. So I'm like, go get mommy now. And she runs in. And I mean, she was really helpful. She ran inside. So I'm laying there. I'm like, well, I might as well check my phone. So I'm on my phone. I'm laying there like in agony. And I hear her screaming, call 911, call 911 to my wife.
And you called and you're like,
Daddy's
no,
hurt.
don't call 911.
So she comes to the front door. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, just get the fuck out here. I'm like, I don't know. So she comes down, and I finally unfold my leg, and I'm like, so I'm moving my foot, and it's like doing okay. I'm like, all right, I can move it. That's good. So I hobble inside. I get the boot off. And it didn't swell. So I'm like, well, is that good or bad? Because I've read that sometimes brakes don't swell. So I'm like, fuck. Like,
Could be bad, yeah.
It's not swelling. So I lay here on the couch for like 45 minutes. And, you know, I feel bad because now I'm right back to my wife having both kids, right? Because I can't fucking walk. So I'm laid up on the thing, and my son's just jumping on me because he doesn't know. So she ushers them out of here. But when she leaves the light off down here and the door open. And it's freezing. So I'm on this couch freezing with like no cover, and I'm afraid to get up and walk. So I call my cousin's husband, who's an EMT, and they live nearby. So I'm like, can you just come over and just make sure like nothing glaring is wrong for me, and then I'll take it from there. So he comes over and he's examining me, and he's like, there's no obvious break. He's like, you luckily probably just strained or maybe tore a muscle, but there's no breaks. It's like, okay.
So you didn't go to the emergency room?
I did not. So I actually went to work the next day.
You went to work the next day?
I went to work the next day because we had a meeting. That
just like limping on it?
Yeah, so
That's
I had
impressive.
no crutches or anything. So
Wow.
I had my shoe loose and like hobbling around. So I'm telling the story, obviously. Everyone's like asking me what's going on. I have a new boss, so I had emailed her that night. I'm like, I may not be in tomorrow. Here's why. So as the day's going, it's obviously progressively hurting more and more. So I make it home. And I take off my shoe. My foot's like now swelled up, right? So I've been sleeping in the recliner. I'm just kind of gutting through it. And I wake up yesterday morning, and I'm like, it's not getting any better. It's swelled up. Should I just go get it checked out? So I decided to go. So my dad was coming to take my son for the day so my wife could do some work. So I call my insurance company because I have a high deductible plan. So I'm like, I want to make sure I'm smart about this. So I'm like, do I need to go to my doctor to get a referral?
You're losing me. This is like adult stuff.
Right. So it's all this stuff. So it's all this stuff. So I got to pay like almost out of, I got to pay like you do when you have like no insurance, right?
Yeah, like a normal person.
Right. So unless I hit a certain amount, then they'll cover most of it. But I'm not. It just January, so it just started. So I'm trying to plan the best course. It's not going to be the most expensive thing. So I settle on a walk-in clinic. Call the first one. Thankfully, I called. No X-ray tech on. Call the second one. No X-ray tech on. So now I'm like, there's only so many walk-in clinics like in this area. It's a tiny state, and I don't want to go to the emergency room. I do not want to go to like the fucking hospital.
You should go to Garden City. That's my place.
Do they have an X-ray?
Yeah.
Well, that was May 4th on my list. So I call the one in Coventry, which is the closest to me. I'm on hold for like 11 minutes. And I'm like, I just want to know if they have an X-ray tech. So they finally come on. And I'm already dressed by this point. I'm like, do you have X-ray tech on? And she's like, yes, just come in. So I drive over there myself, hobble into the emergency room. I sit down, and I know it's going to be a while. She's like, there's 8 people ahead of you. So I hadn't charged my phone and all this. So I'm at like 45% of my phone.
So you just had to watch like Rachel Ray for 2 hours.
So I'm sitting there. And this fucking guy comes in, right? Just like 1993 Patriots jacket, the hat on, talking loud about the fucking Super Bowl. I'm like, this is hell. And so finally, I'm like, I go talk to the girl. I'm like, how much time do I really have? And she's like, well, at least a half hour. I'm like, all right, I'm going to my car and charging my phone. I'll be back. So I go out there for 20 minutes, come back in. Thinking,
you lost your place in line?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't lose my place. So I come in and I sit back down, and somehow there's some worse people have come in, and Let's Make a Deal's on with Wayne Brady. Have you watched the show?
No. It sounds terrible.
So my phone is still only like at 40-something%, 52% something. So I'm trying to gauge, like, I don't want to blow through it in case I need it later. And I'm watching Let's Make a Deal. That's like just mind-numbingly boring. Then this guy comes in with his friend that is a straight, like, fucking townie. Like, I mean, townie. Like, have you ever seen Just Friends?
No.
Okay, well, for those of you who have, the guy that used to play, like, was the football star that teased Ryan Reynolds, and at the end, he's just, like, this drunk guy who never left, like, talk about it. Like, this is this fucking guy. Bald.
Like Matthew McConaughey from Days of Compute?
Yeah, just is only fat and ugly and older, right? So he's just, like, you know, he's talking, you know, like a typical fucking moron from Rhode Island talks, you know, like who talks about everything local and, like, you know, just, the fucking Patriots are going to be on Sunday. You know, just like that fucking nauseating accent, right? So he comes barging through the door, and he's got this guy with him, and he's like, he like tells it. Oh God, I guess it's like a primary care place too. So he was coming as his primary doctor, but it's still a wait. So he's like, oh God, this fucking lie. I mean, he's like just swearing in front of everyone, like loudly. And he's like, all right, go outside and smoke. I don't want your fucking cancer anyway, you fucking asshole. And he sits down, and I'm just like, I'm shaking my head, like this is awful. And then he just starts talking non-stop, like having a conversation with his buddy, but in front of everyone, so we can all hear. You know what I mean? Like, so he's talking about some getting pulled over, or some cop he knew that went to high school, and how the guy was in high school and how he is now. And then he's talking about his sister, how his sister hates him and threw him out of her house the other day because he talks too much.
That's why townies can never leave their hometown.
Because they know that's all they know.
If they move, they'll get arrested.
Right, exactly.
They need to know all the cops and stuff that they went to high school with.
It's awful. So he's just going on and on about all this shit. And then there's like, they're talking about movies, and he's talking about like you know, it's this shit everyone knows, but he's like talking about like, that Brad Pitt. Like, you don't say that, it's just Brad Pitt, right? Everyone knows who fucking Brad Pitt, right? Like, oh, that Brad Pitt.
That rascally old Brad Pitt.
And there's this other guy who's got a zombie shirt on with a mask because he's had the flu or whatever. And he's talking to some other guy about how much he loves zombies, and he's obsessed with zombies. And I'm like, this is just like way too much for me right now. So
I have no sympathy for you because you went to the Coventry walk-in.
I know, but I needed the x-ray.
You got to go to the richer city.
So I'm sitting there, and Let's Make a Deal feels like it's now been on for about 7 hours, the same episode, fucking Wayne Brady. And I'm just like dying for anything at this point, just anything. The data in there was no Wi-Fi, and the data like was dragging. So not only is my phone dying, the data is barely working.
Why can't a doctor's office have Wi-Fi?
It's awful.
Dunkin' Donuts can do it.
It's fucking awful. So I'm sitting there, and this guy, right? So now he gets onto politics, of course, right? Yeah. So he's already talked about football. He's talked about movies that he likes and doesn't like, and now he's on to politics. And of course, he's bitching about Obama. I was waiting for the Trump stuff, but he actually shit on Trump too. So I don't think he likes anyone. But then he talks about how he's surprised Obama didn't get killed, and he talks about
because he's black.
But then he talks about the King, right? Was that his name? The King thing? How do you not know Martin Luther King? Everyone fucking knows Martin Luther King. Like, he literally had to like ask his friend to confirm his name.
The first two names of
like, how do you not know Martin Luther King?
That King guy.
It was just Martin Luther King Day.
Who was that guy? Malcolm some letter.
Right, he's like the
Malcolm
King.
M.
The King. He would have gotten shot like the King thing. I'm like, what are you talking about? So finally they call me, and I exasperate thank you to the lady, like in front of everyone. I just yell it. I'm like, thank you. And the guy goes,
gave the guy an evil glare?
No, he goes, all right, bud. Like he was commenting on everyone who was going in every time. And I'm just like shaking my head. And she's like, I'm sorry it took this long. I'm like, just thank you for getting me in here. Like, just thank you so much. And these two girls were just like the whole time, just like making faces at each other at this guy. The whole experience was awful. So I go in, and now I'm in the waiting room waiting for they do my vitals and everything. And now I got to wait for the x-ray.
Second waiting room, yeah.
And in the back, there's literally no data. So, like, it's like no signal. So now I'm sitting there reading about Mandy Moore on some fucking magazine, just like trying to like just not blow up. So then I finally go get my x-ray, come back, and no breaks, no tears, just a real bad sprain. The worst part is I hurt my Achilles, which I guess can be real bad if you don't properly heal it after.
Yeah, you gotta watch your Achilles, man.
Yeah, so but then they gave me crutches in this brace, which I'm now afraid of that I'm gonna get like some crazy absorbent extra charge for, which I don't think I needed the crutches. I haven't used them. So
yeah, they're gonna upcharge you for that.
Yeah, but if it's like $15, I'm not gonna mind. But if it's like another $100 for crutches, I'm gonna lose.
It'll
my
be
fucking
$80.
shit. You think 80?
$80. I'm calling it.
I might call and complain because I'm gonna say they didn't give me an option. They just gave them to me.
That's what they did with me when I dropped a TV on my finger and I got this red fingernail and I had to go get it drained. I just wanted to get it drained.
Right.
And they're like, oh, let me take an x-ray to make sure it's not broken. And then it's like $400.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm already paying $150 for the visit. You know I'm on self-pay.
Right.
I'm so stupid. Why did I say just no x-ray? I know it wasn't breaking. She knew it wasn't broken, too.
Right.
Those doctors are all fucking crooks, man.
Yeah. I'm dreading what this bill is going to be. I don't mind the brace because you can actually put it in the freezer and it gets cold. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah,
it's not bad. Like,
nice little. Cool.
I feel like I may use this again someday.
Oh, it's your left leg too. That's not so
bad. My left leg, yeah. It hurt though. It's the most pain. I had back spasms like 6 or 7 years ago, and this was the most pain I had.
The worst ever?
Back spasms may have been worse. No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. The 3 minutes after I first fell was like excruciating. So it's close. Back spasms was sustained.
I got hit by a car, and my worst pain is still wisdom teeth.
Wisdom teeth sucked.
I told my mother to go fuck herself. I was like, get the fuck away from me. And she was like, just being nice. She's like, you want some soup?
Yeah, you just pure
I
anger.
thought my head was going to explode.
It's awful.
It's
I watched
terrible.
WrestleMania 9 and enjoyed it. That's how bad I was. Did I ever tell you about the fence? This will be the last injury story. This was a real bad one.
You got injured on a fence?
So, you know the old fences with the prongs at the top?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we had that across, you know how long my backyard is, so it was across the whole backyard. And a ball went over the fence, so I went to go get it. And as I was going over, I slipped, and I fell, and I luckily somehow dodged landing full on that thing. I swung around. My underwear and shorts got tied around one of those, and I was hanging from the fence like that with my underwear like wrapped around, just hanging from the fucking thing by my pants and underwear. And I actually scraped my nutsack with that thing. That's how close it was, like puncturing or doing more damage. So that was bad.
If you're gonna hop a fence, you better have some good shoes on.
It was I was stupid.
Which leads me to my first question about this injury. When you slipped,
yeah, I had boots.
were you wearing 2 pairs of socks?
No,
There you go.
I don't think it would have mattered in this case.
Of course it does.
I am a 2-sock advocate. I wear them for all my workouts.
Always wear 2 pairs of socks.
The thing is, too, those boots I've had forever, and I keep telling myself they're not great. I slip like here and there a lot, and I kept meaning to get new ones. I never have.
Yeah, you should get some good boots.
So anyway, that's my life. The past
You know what
few
you
days.
need to do, because you have real stone stairs
Yeah.
and like a slick driveway. You should salt before the snow comes.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I do have it. I have been salting. And I'll tell you, I'm always like really careful because the first year we were here, I wasn't expecting it. I slipped and fell on my back coming down those stairs because I didn't know it was like an icy spot at the bottom, like an idiot. Obviously, the water comes down. But, so I'm usually wicked careful. Like, I walk so slow. It was just a moment of like, just wanted to get everything done, and I turned around to help her, and that was it. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because just for your own personal safety and your family's safety, but also, like, say the mailman slipped on your stairs and broke his ankle. I know a mailman who hurt his ankle, $60,000.
I would have to pay him.
Yeah, sued that family for like 2 years, and they got $60,000.
Well, luckily, my mailbox is across the street, so he doesn't have to come up.
That's a good plan too.
Fuck him. All right, so we watched a couple of things for this week. Your last 2 episodes, you're a little salty, so I'm hoping you're a little bit more sweet this week. You
Well, yeah,
good?
I didn't love the Royal Rumble, but this Saturday night main event, that was awesome.
Awesome. So
It's
we're gonna
probably like the best thing I've watched so far.
really.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
Where does this rank with your like wrestling aficionados?
all right. Let's get to that in a minute. Let's talk about the first thing first.
Because if you say people didn't like this episode, I'll be really sad.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the first topic. And it's just a quick one. It was actually something that we were going to watch earlier, and we just kind of skipped it because we had such a break. But I wanted you to watch it anyway, because as we've discussed, you are a huge fan of award shows. You love awards, whether it's the Grammys, the Oscars, the Emmys, the RSV Awards. You love them all.
Yes, I have had an Oscar party, which Oscar parties are a thing now, and I'm pretty sure I invented it.
I think so. I remember
Because
that going on for quite a while.
I would want to watch the Oscars, and no one wanted to watch it, so I invented a concept where people would vote for all the winners, and then I would have prizes for all, like, whoever got the most categories right, and it became a thing.
Are you doing that this year too?
Of course.
Awesome. So I had you watch the Slammy Awards from 1987. This is the second annual. They had one in 1986 as well. I didn't watch them, and I haven't seen them in forever. But I just wanted your quick thoughts. I really wanted you to watch it because I know you like award shows. So share your thoughts. We can comment on it a bit, and then we'll get to the main event. No
All
pun
right, so
intended.
obviously I was really excited to watch it.
Yeah.
And they billed it as the 38th annual Slammy Awards.
Right.
Which now that I know that's not true is kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
But I really thought so. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to finish watching this and I can go back on Wikipedia and figure out like who won all the Slammys leading up to this. And then I did, and it's like it was actually the second one.
Right.
But that was a genius ploy because, you know, the Oscars is like the 85th
Right.
Oscars. Like,
it was
oh
a
my God.
rare moment of like smart funny from them. Like not beat you over the head, slam it in your face funny.
It was clearly a joke to everyone who knew wrestling and
Right.
knew that there wasn't that many Slammys, but for
Right.
someone just watching it, it was like,
Yeah.
they got me.
It was well done. It was well done.
The first thing that came to my mind was that they introduced every single wrestler that would be on the show.
Yeah.
It took like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, why do they have to do that?
Well, see, stuff like that, they were actually always pretty good at. As being
That's why they have a red carpet show.
True.
You before the show starts.
You see them all.
Then you have yeah.
It was shrewd though, because you may get people in their mind. I'm thinking like you get people that maybe aren't watching wrestling usually, and they're tuning in, and you're kind of introducing them to all the characters out of the gate. So maybe you get someone hooked on one of these characters.
Is someone who doesn't watch wrestling usually going to watch the Slammy Awards?
They may have stumbled into it and been like, "What's this? It looks different. It's on USA." You know, remember there was less programming on 1987 too. There's more of a chance someone stumbles into it than now when you got 70,000 options.
That's true. So once the show got into it, I thought it looked great. They had like this amazing venue. Mm-hmm. It was like this like fancy Atlantic City hotel or whatever. And all the wrestlers were wearing tuxedos with like no shirts, which I thought was really cool. Because I wasn't sure. I was like, is it going to be the Slammys, but they're real people, or are they going to be the wrestlers? And then it quickly became obvious it's the wrestlers, and it's just like a totally fake show.
Right. Yeah.
And you got like Jesse and Gene Okerlund go like, Gene, you're a little dweeb and stuff like that. So that was cool. And then I was like, all right, well, whatever. At least the categories will be good. But then the categories were totally like fake. Like the first category was best animal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, there's only 4 animals in the whole stinking, and then George the Animal Steel wins best animal. I was like, all right, well maybe that was just like a funny way to kick it off. I'm like, what about best move? What about, best match or best wrestler? Things like that. No, there was all like best song, best dressed.
So best song was just a ploy to sell the Pile Driver album that we talked about last time.
But did they even win? Because I didn't even see them say best song is this.
Oh, I don't know. But my point is I think they were just trying to, because they sang a bunch of songs there, right?
Yeah, and Honky Tonk Man sang a song.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, great. Finally, he's going to play guitar and sing. And he didn't play guitar.
He just sang.
He faked it.
Yeah.
But he really did sing, and it was so bad.
What did you think of Vince singing?
Vince was actually...
Stand back!
That was a big foreshadowing to your podcast with the...
Yeah.
It was very accurate, actually. I'm more impressed with you than him at this point. But Honky Tonk Man, it wasn't a terrible song if you could sing, but the main end of the chorus was, I am cool, I'm cocky, I'm bad. Mm-hmm. But there's only one syllable in the note for cocky.
Right.
So they could have come up with any other word. Like, how about bold? I'm cool, I'm bold, I'm bad. Honky Tonk Man. He's like, I'm cocky.
That ends up being like his catchphrase for a while too. Like he'll say,
I'm cool,
that.
I'm cocky, I'm bad.
Yeah.
But cocky and bad are like the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That wasn't really cool. But my favorite moment of the show was definitely, and now I'm like a fan of this guy.
Harley?
No.
Oh.
You think I liked Harley fighting Duggan like in the backstage?
I don't know.
They actually...
I'm so desperate for you to like Harley Race. I'll latch on to anything.
It was funny, though, that they showed Gorilla Monsoon running across the stage to go cover the fight. He's like, hold on a second. And he actually runs. He's like 60 years old or whatever. But no, the best moment of the show was definitely Rick Rude winning Best Body.
Yeah.
Because he goes up there and he like plays up his thing. He's doing like a Chippendale dance. And then he actually goes to take off his thong or his Speedo. And Gene Okerlund had to cover it with a towel.
Yeah. They time it well, too. Like Gene.
It's perfect because he takes it off and he's like spinning the Speedo. And he's like, oh, Rick Rude's totally naked up there. Yeah. It's like, not only does he have a great upper body, he's got a great lower body.
Right.
But that was cool.
That's good.
And the Randy Savage stuff was okay. He was just kind of like standing up on tables, pointing upwards, and kind of like...
It was a fun night, right? I mean,
it was fun, but it was definitely just kind of a promo for the wrestling.
Yeah.
Where I wanted like legitimate awards. I wanted to hear speeches. There were no speeches. It was just kind of selling the stories.
So they do
the future matches.
They bring the Slammys back in the mid '90s for a couple of years, and they actually do
like legitimate
the stuff you're talking about. So
because I imagine I'm like, well, that's why it doesn't come back the next year because it was pointless.
Yeah. So we'll see it. We'll watch them when we get to the '90s, and you can watch those.
Sweet.
Are they better than the RSV Awards or worse?
The RSV Awards are like its own category.
Okay.
I mean, where else can you say, best actor when you're talking about a wrestling show? Now, that would have been cool if WWE came out with a thing that was like best actor.
Right. Okay.
Because they have to admit that you're acting.
Fair enough. All right, so now we move ahead. Obviously, we watched the Royal Rumble from 1988 last episode, and we move ahead to the main event, which was on February 5th, 1988. This is actually kind of a spin-off of Saturday Night's main event because this is on a Friday in prime time. So it's their first foray since, like...
I was wondering why they didn't say Saturday's main event.
It's, like, the first time in, like, decades and decades that they were in prime time on, like, over-the-air.
Were they getting tired of competing with Saturday Night Live?
No, they actually replaced Saturday Night Live for Saturday Night's main event.
Oh.
Because it was NBC. So Saturday Night's main event would take, like, 1 week, a month off, and Saturday Science Main Event would air during that week.
Interesting.
Yeah, so no, the main event, I think they just wanted to take a stab and see if they could draw like a big number in primetime. And they did. They had 33 million viewers with a 15 rating. So it was like a massive success, like a ton of people.
33 million viewers. So this wasn't a pay-per-view?
No, it was on NBC.
So are they still doing matches like this on free TV?
I don't think a match exists this big, but yes, they do.
Yeah. I think that's why, because remember I told you at the beginning of the series,
Right.
I watched a little bit of wrestling, but then I was tired of just watching, like, say, Undertaker wrestle some schmo.
Right.
And my parents weren't buying the WrestleManias and stuff.
Yeah, so you weren't seeing the good stuff.
Yeah, but if this was just on like a normal Friday on NBC...
You would have been in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was. I think as part of the deal to get that slot, Vince promised Dick Ebersol like something huge, right? Like, well, I'll give you something that like normally would be like a pay-per-view. We're going to make it count. So, and that was the Hulk Hogan Andre the Giant rematch. Now, they had touched once. We saw that Survivor Series 87 when they were in the 5-on-5 together. But that they haven't had a one-on-one match since WrestleMania. So this has been building for almost a year now. That was March, and this is now February.
Yeah, and this was great because not only did I not enjoy the signing
Right.
at the Royal Rumble, but my friend Bill, shout out to Bill Leahy, this is like a great thing where you try to lower your expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I told Bill, I was like, oh, I'm watching the main event after the Royal Rumble. He's like, oh, that match sucked. So then I was like, oh, great, the match is going to suck. So I'm sitting there like, click, I'm going to watch this show for the thing. And it was great.
Yeah.
So thanks, Bill, because you lowered my expectations so much that it was actually great.
So is Bill like a big work rate guy? He probably believes it actually sucked, which I think is a fair point if you're into like the wrestling aspect of it. Like, it wasn't very good wrestling. It was great drama. The story was awesome.
Yeah, but is it possible to have a Hogan-Andre match with great wrestling?
No.
All they're doing is punching each
No,
other.
it's not possible.
It's
not.
punching each other in like fits of strength.
So, all right, well, let's talk about a match that was maybe a little bit better in the ring, and that's Randy Savage, Honky Tonk Man. So we've seen them fight before. Randy Savage now full-fledged face. Everyone loves him. Everything else is behind him.
Macho Mania.
Macho Mania is running wild. The Mega Powers exist, and he gets one more crack at Honky for the IC title here. What'd you think of this one?
Before I say what I think of it, what does everyone else think of it?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a consensus on this match. I think it's just...
All right, you're a big Macho Man guy. What did you think?
Well, I love everything Macho Man. I don't think it was their best match. I've seen better of late.
This was the best match I've seen of Macho Man.
Yeah?
Like, I haven't really been that big on Macho Man. This was like my favorite Macho Man.
We
He was
gotta watch
awesome.
one other one that Scott and I just watched for the podcast with him and Honky that's even better than this.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, you have Honky, which, you know, I've trashed Honky a bunch because he's such a dick, but his pre-match interview was so good. He was like singing Elvis songs.
Yeah.
He was funny, and I'm starting to think about. I'm like, you know what? He's supposed to be hated, and he's actually a really good actor.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, I'll give him a pass on that one. And then you got the Peggy Sue angle,
Yeah.
where they introduce Honky Tonk Man, and now the girlfriend of Honky Tonk Man, some girl that you've never seen before, and she runs in and she's like, oh my god! I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. What is
Right.
she gonna do? And then Macho Man and Elizabeth come in, and Macho Man was like a beast. He was going after everyone. He was taking Jimmy Hart. He was throwing him in the ring, throwing him out the ring, throwing Honky Tonk Man in and out the ring. He was going crazy. And like the moment where where Macho Man was knocked out, and then they were coming in on Elizabeth, that was like the coolest Macho Man moment ever. He runs out of the ring. He like takes down both of them. He throws Honky Tonk Man into the pole. It's like, I loved it. The guy was like crazy.
Savage is really good in these like compressed TV sprints because he's so maniacal and like energetic that he just like doesn't stop the whole
He's like
match.
a puppy.
Yeah, he just goes the whole match. I mean, his energy is like crazy. Like, he never stops. So Honky escapes with the title. Were you disappointed that Macho Man didn't win the title?
Yeah, I mean, there was a moment where he got up on the top rope, and I'm like, all right, here comes the elbow, but then Honky Tonk gets up, and there was kind of like an awkward flying hammer thing.
Yeah.
And then he ends up on the count out, and I was like, well, you know, they probably just want to set them up for another match. So that was the only negative about it, was that there was no flying elbow.
Right.
Macho Man raises the belt.
Yeah, it's a tough spot because they didn't want to give Macho the belt just yet. We got other stuff to come.
But it was great because first of all, this crowd was like the best crowd I ever saw.
And they're live, too, so there's no fucking with it. There's no piping in or anything there.
Yeah, they were so excited about the Hogan-Andre match, and they were going nuts, like when Macho Man stopped the Honky Tonk Man from hitting her with a guitar. Elizabeth gets in there. She gets between the two of them. He grabs a guitar. He smashes the guitar. They're going crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this is a great crowd.
So this sounds like it raised the stock of both Macho Man and Honky for you.
Yes, and also the relationship between Macho Man and Elizabeth, because he like holds the rope for her, puts her on. It's
coming around, right? It's
yeah,
coming around because he was an asshole.
I wish you had never told me that he beat her in real life, because I was like, oh man,
I didn't say he beat her in real life. He didn't beat her.
I thought you said he locked her in a closet and stuff.
Well, because he was like he was jealous. He didn't want anyone talking to her. He didn't. I don't think he beat her though.
Okay.
He would like keep her like well hidden and protected.
You've dropped some hints about like how all this stuff ends, because like they both end up dying and their lives were terrible.
Oh well, her life kind of went to shit, but his didn't. He just died of like a heart attack, probably from all the steroids. But he doesn't have like a horrible ending.
Maybe it was the cocaine. Maybe that's where he got all that.
It's one of the two. Oh yeah, I mean definitely.
Yeah,
but
I thought it was a great match.
Any other thoughts on it?
What happened at the end? Honky Tonk Man takes the belt. He's like walking away.
Right, he loses by count out. He escapes, and then Savage. That's when he does the stuff with Liz. He brings her in, puts him on the shoulder.
Yeah, it was cute. It was chivalrous.
It was chivalrous.
You can't have a moment like that now. It's like an '80s thing. It's like it's okay to be nice to a woman in the '80s.
Right, and even beyond that, it was a redemption thing, because he had been kind of a dick to her on TV for for the past 2 years, and now all of a sudden he's kind of come around and treating her like a beautiful woman that she is. All right, so that takes us to the main event of the main event, and that is Andre the Giant taking on Hulk Hogan, world title rematch. Of course, Ted DiBiase, now in the corner of Andre the Giant, bought the contract from Bobby Heenan, and Andre has promised if he would win the title here, he'll deliver it to DiBiase, because Hogan wouldn't sell it to him. So, a lot going on. Did you feel the hype for the match before it started was what you felt for WrestleMania 3, or because you weren't as into the Rumble, where you're not as up on it?
No, I was definitely up on it.
Okay.
I was like, all right, they're going to fight again.
So what turned you around between the Rumble and watching this?
I think the Randy Savage match.
Yeah? Get your juices flowing?
That was a great
appetizer?
match. Yeah, it was an amazing appetizer.
Okay, good.
It could have been in like a final match. It was like one of my favorite matches so far.
Right. Okay, good. All right, so talk about the match. We can save the ending if you want to save the ending, because that's a whole other world we can get into. But if you want to talk about the match itself.
I thought, like, all right, so we watched WrestleMania 3, and before I watched it, you said, Jeff, enjoy, because this was like the seminal moment of my childhood.
Right.
And then I saw the body slam, and I'm like, oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
But this match, I thought, was even better, because Andre was like in real peril.
Yeah.
You could see like his face. He was like angry, and he was like hurting. And Hogan, at the beginning of the match in particular, Hogan comes in, and he just starts destroying everyone. He brings Virgil in the ring, and I'm like, yes, finally, someone's hitting Virgil.
Yes.
He doesn't just get to stand there waving his stupid money. Virgil's getting hit. Him and Ted DiBiase both get the leg. He's like going after Andre, and then it was like this cool, they can't knock him down, they can't knock him down. And it was, all right, so usually you have Jesse and Vince are gorilla, and Jesse is like, oh, the heel is great and whatever, but he's like, I'm sick of Hogan. And he's so into like Hogan's energy. He's like, I've never seen Hogan like this. So it raised Hogan to like this Michael Jordan like level.
Right, that he's just taking the next step. He's already awesome, and he's just going to like this next level to wipe out this like crazy opponent that he's dealing with.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, I can't believe you can't knock him down, because nobody else could stand up. And so there's like both of them, their myths are like colliding at the same time.
Right.
So he finally, he makes the big mistake of getting on the ropes.
So you don't think Andre losing and getting slammed at WrestleMania affected this at all? Like he still came off as like this mythical god to you?
Yes, I think that Hogan, his character is so cool that when he lost, I was like, wow, what a great fight.
Right.
Because it didn't really make Andre any less for me. Like, I still thought he was my favorite.
Right.
But I understood the Hulkamania, if you will. And then they just kind of ruined it with that whole Ted DiBiase stuff. Like, I'm going to buy the title for Ted DiBiase. But this, like, I wasn't thinking about Ted DiBiase during the match.
Right, okay.
I thought they were both trying to, like, beat each other.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Anything else in the match? Or you want to get to the ending?
Well, what else is there but the ending?
No, we can get right to it.
It could have ended in so many different ways. Like, he finally gets the clothesline. He finally gets Andre on the ground. And it's like, oh my God, he could have just pinned Andre there and it'd been like, all right. But I don't know. It's hard. I respect the bookers, if you will, the writers.
Look at you.
Guys. Yeah, it's a word.
Yeah.
Ding.
Extra credit.
Because how, like, say you had to write a story.
Yeah.
Where, Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain met on Mars and they had to save the galaxy by playing basketball. Go.
That was Space Jam, wasn't it?
You know what's funny? I've never actually seen Space Jam.
I don't think I have either, honestly. I assume that's what it was about.
I'll check that out on the Fire Stick later.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that? Like, they're both their own, like, universe.
Right.
So I'm just like, okay, is Hogan just going to win again? Is Andre going to win? And then they have to rematch at WrestleMania 3 for the third time because there's always a big 3 thing.
WrestleMania 4.
4, whatever.
Yeah.
But I've already seen WrestleMania 4, so I know that doesn't happen. So then I'm starting to think of myself, well, they're not just going to do another main event. Maybe Andre just retires for 5 years. I don't know. So yeah, the ending, actually, as ridiculous as it was, made so much sense.
Right.
It was like the perfect ending.
Right.
To what was happening in the match.
And the best part is nobody knew besides these guys and like Vince and whoever else that put it together. Like, it was like a complete secret. So, all right, we can talk about the behind the scenes part of it. So let's talk about on screen first. I do like throughout the match how Jesse's hyping up Dave Hebner, the referee.
They're like, oh, he's doing a great job.
Because remember the controversy from WrestleMania 3 was the referee fucked Andre.
Yeah.
Was the claim. So I thought that was a cool touch.
Vince and Jesse never agree on anything, and they're both being like, this referee is really keeping control of this match.
Right. So they're hyping it. So Andre gets the double underhook suplex and falls on Hogan. Hogan blatantly kicks out. I mean, his shoulder's like way up.
It was like not even a 1 count.
Right.
And it was like 0.8 count.
So now, were you freaking out when the ref kept counting when you saw this happen?
No, as soon as he counted this to 2, I knew it was happening. I was like, oh, Ted DiBiase, there you go. They're going to tell me that everyone has their price and yada, yada, yada. Yeah. Obviously, the referee. And then as soon as that happened, and Vince is like, no, it can't be. Jesse says, well, this is wrestling. It's not football. There's no instant replay.
Right.
I'm like, there you go. Okay, perfect. That makes sense. There is no instant replay.
Right.
Why haven't we had a ref fix a match yet?
Yeah. Well, we kind of did. Danny Davis.
Wait.
Here and there. Remember he fucked a couple teams? He did like a fast count on the British Bulldogs. Anyway, go ahead. We have not this blatant. I mean, not this blatant. We haven't had.
Not like for the championship.
Right. Well, yeah, those are the tag team titles, but not as blatant as this.
Son of a bitch.
No, you're right though. It wasn't on. It was not this blatant. He had just said like a quick count and ignored the double teaming.
Look, Justin, if I'm gonna be in the classroom,
yeah, well,
you don't got to be like challenging.
It's my job to correct you.
All right,
professor.
Fine. Not since Danny Davis have we seen a referee fix a match this badly.
Right, not this blatantly anyway.
Are these guys really twins?
Yeah. So Earl Hebner, who was the fake one, had been working for the NWA as a referee, and they brought him over just to do this. And he stays now. He'll be there. He's there for like ever. But they signed him away just so they could do this angle. They brought him in.
I can't wait to see how this is resolved. There's got to be like a follow up, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. This follow up.
Do you remember Hogan's locker room interview?
Well, let's hang on. We'll get to that in a minute. So
right, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So
I'm excited. I can't get ahead. I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, it's all right. So Hogan is like processing everything that's going on because Dave Hebner runs out and he's like, looking at the two referees like, what's going on? And then
Hogan holding the two of them by the neck is like the funniest thing I've ever seen.
But then when he picks him up and launches him, like he fucking
shoved
him like across the fucking
into a bunch of guys.
Yeah,
like that's just a little dude.
Yeah,
they must have practiced that a million times.
He
right?
sent him fucking flying.
The camera angle was behind because I watched it like 3 times.
Yeah,
it was behind DiBiase, so I'm thinking maybe one of them like caught him and then dropped him.
I'm sure. Yeah, but still,
it was cool. It was cool.
So what'd you think of the moment when Andre gives the belt to DiBiase? Because I know you haven't liked the angle and you haven't liked Ted, but isn't that a real, this like evil mastermind moment?
It was the worst.
You wanted Andre to have the title.
Yeah, if Andre is going to like swindle someone for the title, at least he gets to keep it. He doesn't even put it on. He's like, I will surrender it to Ted DiBiase. And I'm like, no.
Well, at this point, I think he's just obsessed with beating Hogan. And fucking Hogan.
It kind of goes back to what you said in one of our first episodes where Andre doesn't really care about the titles.
Right.
Because Andre's like his own company.
Right. He's just himself. Now, he wanted a title shot. That was what led to WrestleMania 3. But now I feel like it's gotten so personal that he just wanted to fuck Hogan. And this was the best way to do it. Like, he's just like, fuck you.
That literally is the worst thing that could have happened to Hogan.
Yeah. He took his belt, stabbed him in the back.
Giving it to... But now he's just going to have to wrestle Hogan, right? He can't just have it forever. Isn't there some kind of contract for the champion that you have to like defend it at least once a year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we'll see where it goes. Ted DiBiase is champion.
Can he pay somebody to wrestle for him?
Who knows? He already did this, but I'm sure they'll be watching him a little bit closer.
I can't take this.
All right. So, yeah, Hogan, he's like freaking out, throws Hebner into the thing. And then we go backstage for the Hulk Hogan interview. So tell me your thoughts on this.
Well, what was the episode where he's talking to Elizabeth?
That ends up being after this, but
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we'll see that again.
That guy who said that we shouldn't watch stuff out of order was still right. Because...
Yeah, I know. We're fixing it. We're going to get through the next year, and then we'll have all fresh from there. But the next, 8 shows...
It reminded me of Hogan talking to Elizabeth.
Right.
He was just he was crying almost.
Yeah.
Where that is so not the reaction that the best athlete in the world would have if they were just hosed. He would be just angry. He's like, how much was the plastic surgery? How much was the plastic surgery?
That's Hogan's biggest flaw as a hero character, is what a pussy he is when he gets hosed. Even when he doesn't really get hosed and he plays it off like he's a baby. He's a big baby. So he's like LeBron James, right? So he's this great mega athlete, but any perceived slight or something goes wrong and he gets fucked, he just cries about it.
I can see it because his whole thing is the Hulkamaniacs.
Right.
So he's kind of playing for an 8-year-old.
Right.
And an 8-year-old is sitting at home and Hogan just lost and he shouldn't have lost. They're probably crying.
Yeah.
He's right. It was the plastic surgery, Dad.
I love how they spin it like that, though. That makes DiBiase even more sinister. Not that they found a twin referee, that he paid off a referee to get plastic surgery to look like the referee.
It's much more likely than twins.
Right. I like how it doesn't even cross his mind. It's just how much was the plastic surgery?
Oh,
do you picture the movie Face Off, that they just pulled in Danny Davis and swapped his face with fucking Ebner?
Yeah, just gonna rip it off. It's gonna be Danny Davis. Hannibal Lecter style.
That would have been pretty awesome. For one, that would have really solidified Danny Davis as the worst ref ever.
When are we going to get the Mission Impossible face technology when we can just put masks of other people on?
Yeah, you'd think it would be here by now.
Yeah, it's 2018. We should have flying cars and fake faces.
I think we'd have flying cars. I think Big Gas
Volvo,
doesn't want us to.
Yeah. Volvo has the flying car.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's like an airplane.
Auto-driving cars are pretty much here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Volvo also the first.
Yeah.
Hashtag I drive Volvo.
What do you think of Hyundai? Was it Hyundai? What was the big beef?
Hyundai?
What was the one you hated? We ranted on. We pissed up a couple people off.
Oh, yeah. A bunch of people were like, I drive a Hyundai, go fuck yourself. But they're crappy cars, and people who drive them are generally bad drivers.
Yeah.
So if you're one of the good drivers who enjoys driving a Hyundai, then fine.
Vans are the worst.
I like the Dodge Caravan.
But if you drive a van, you probably suck.
Yeah.
I've yet to really run across a good van driver.
Well, that's just because people only bought vans to carry lots of people, but now we have SUVs. You have a Cherokee that can fit 8 people.
Right. Well, not that many, but 5.
You don't have the seats in the back?
I don't have the third row.
Volvo. I got a 7-seater, sucker.
Yeah? How many times have you used all 7 seats?
Well, I was going to join Uber, but hopefully this Jeff Learns Wrestling thing takes off. I won't need the extra income.
You won't have to do it, yeah. You might want to still submit the application. So this was the first network TV show since the 50s or whatever, 50s or 60s. So this was a huge deal for the WWF. Do you think they delivered? Was this they fucking did it? Primetime network TV, they put on the best show maybe they could have done.
Yes, absolutely. This is, like I said, it's a 10 out of 10 show for me. That's why I was like, what do other people think?
Right. No, I mean, this angle is beloved. I mean, it's one of the all-time greats. The swerve of it, it's such a shock, the moment. No one was thinking this at all. You're probably just thinking Hogan beats him again. Or DiBiase does something. You're not picturing a twin referee coming in and fucking Hogan and then Andre giving DiBiase the belt, selling it to him. So yeah, I mean that's all of that is such a shocking scenario to go down. It was just a big time match. Hogan and Andre was still a big time match. So they're not done yet. We'll see them some more.
Yeah, because WrestleMania 4. But wait, Hogan and Andre weren't even in the tournament, were they?
We'll see on our next episode, which we'll get to. So we go off the air. Strikeforce and the Hart Foundation are fighting, but they ran out of time. Did you like only having the 2 matches though? Do you feel like it gave room to breathe in that hour? Nothing. It was frantic. It was frenetic and frantic, but it wasn't rushed.
Yeah, there was no fluff.
Right.
Which my problem with WrestleMania 3 and the Royal Rumble was, you were like, what about when this guy came into the ring? I was like, I don't remember.
Right.
Or let's talk about the Can-Am connection. I'm like,
So this was just the top 4 guys, nothing else. 2 big matches, the top 2 titles, no bullshit.
Yeah, it's like playing fantasy baseball.
Right.
How do you check up with what the Milwaukee Brewers are doing in May?
Yeah,
it's tough. I just want to see the Yankees and Red Sox in the playoffs.
That's why ESPN loves you.
Shut up, you snob.
So this is a quick episode, which was what we figured. We're going to make up for it, though, because we are going to watch WrestleMania 4 next, and that's a long show. So we're probably going to spend a lot of time on that one. Contrast for me WrestleMania 4 versus WrestleMania 3, your hype level. Like, are you? I know you've watched some of 4 when you did the first episode. I don't know how much of it you remember. You probably mishmashed things in your head, but are you excited to watch it?
I'm very excited, but my hype level isn't as high because I know who wins.
Okay.
I don't know the whole story or the whole
right.
thing,
Does it mean more to you now? You'll know you're going to watch the whole show, and you've kind of seen where it comes from. You've seen Randy Savage's story unfold and where he's at. You've seen.
Is that the next thing we're watching? There's no in between here.
No, this was the in between pretty much. So we'll watch WrestleMania 4 next. That's the next big thing. But you didn't watch the whole show last time, right? I think you kind of putzed through the show a little bit, but I think we only watched like one match from that show, right? Like for the show for our podcast.
Well, you told me to, but I think I ended up watching the whole thing.
Oh, did you? The whole thing? It's like 4 hours.
I don't have a lot of things to do with my life.
I didn't think you watched the whole
What
thing.
is this analysis? Is this for the thing we just watched?
Yeah, this is me and Scott. Look at this dingbat.
Scott gave this show a C?
Yeah.
All right. You know what, Scott?
Look what your boy gave it.
That is amazing. Justin gives it a C. Wait, Justin gave it an A.
Yeah.
Scott gave it a C.
Yeah.
Good versus evil.
Good.
We should get Scott on a Jeff Lawrence Wrestling podcast.
No.
So I can teach him about learning about wrestling.
I talk to him enough on podcasts. That's why I do this one.
All right. How about I come on your show?
Okay, we could do that.
I'll come on your
him.
show and you guys could just talk about stuff and I'll just like interject and be like.
Well, what we should do is like in a movie where he would dismiss you, we do like a trivia thing and I'll really prep you and then you win. And it's like the big shock that you upset Scott in the trivia contest.
I like that.
And then you make over the girl, and she's really hot, even though you didn't think she was. And you run right off in the sunset. All right, we don't have to delay this any longer. So, quick episode tonight. It's fine. We knew it. I think most of it was my story of my near death. But we will be back soon. We'll talk WrestleMania 4 as we launch into that, and we'll keep trucking on from there. Anything else you want to talk about or cover?
No, just make sure that you're salting your driveway, wear 2 pairs of socks, and don't listen to Scott.
It's not going to get any better than that. Do you want to continue on this journey?
Absolutely.
All right, Facebook.com/PlaceBNation, Twitter, place number 2BNation, shop with us, PlayStation.com/Amazon. Of course, download Scott and I's free Vintage Vault ebooks, which you can hit on the right-hand side of PlayStation.com. Check out the greatest WWE wrestler ever poll. The top, 100 to 85 dropped today, so we're finally into the top 100.
I saw a picture of Junkyard Dog.
Yeah.
Did he not make the top 100?
No, I think he was just outside the top 100. I think he was 101.
You're going to tell me there's 100 wrestlers better than Junkyard Dog? The JYD?
In my world, there's like 300 better.
Are you serious?
He was 101, though. He missed number 100 by a point.
That's sad. He was like one of the people I remember from my childhood. He's got a chain. He's bad. He's got a big head.
He's cool. He's cocky.
He's cool. He's cocky. He's bad.
Anyway, check that out. Share your thoughts. It's been a real lot of fun, that project. We might do a tag team one later in the year. You should get in on that. Watch the matches. And
Best tag teams ever. My submissions might not be what you think.
We're the Killer Bees checking in. Okay. All right, we're out. We'll talk to you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Guitar. This honky tonk man, you're running wild. I got Peggy Sue beside me, the colonel's in the back. I'm coming to your town in my pink Cadillac. I'm just a honky tonk man, just a honky tonk man. I'm just a honky tonk man. I'm cool, I'm cocky, I'm bad. I'm just a honky tonk man. 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 I'm cool, I'm cocky, I'm bad. I'm just a honky tonk man. I'm cool, I'm cocky, I'm